Konosuba is weird.
Sylvia, it feels like something's poking my butt.
Actually, something is.
This is Konosuba, and it follows the story of a pathetic idiot who died in the most laughable way possible. A completely useless god, a mage that can't stop blowing things up, and a crusader who tends to get a bit too horny. As strange as it sounds, a decade ago this is what made Konosuba stand out from your standard isekai. Just 4 stupid characters doing something weird were more than enough to make it one of the most popular anime of all time. There was nothing new about it. It didn't have a unique story or renowned animation. However, it was the perfect anime to watch if you just wanted to turn off your brain and enjoy something genuinely funny. And oh boy, saying that it was funny is an understatement.
Come on, hop in already! It's way warmer in here, I promise! You're totally safe! I won't do a thing!
You won't?
Unfortunately, he did try. Konosuba is an anime that I hold dear to my heart, and I'm sure many of you feel the same way. I recently decided to rewatch it considering that season 3 is just around the corner, and I want to take you on a journey just so you can remember what made this anime so good. I believe the most underrated aspect of the anime is just how well written the first episode is. It effectively establishes the characters, their dynamic, and the overall tone of the show without compromising the quality of the writing. Accomplishing all of this in a single episode is almost insane, yet Konosuba does it flawlessly. The 3 episode rule has become a common practice, where viewers watch at least 3 episodes to decide if the anime is for them, and while certain anime benefit from this approach, the beauty of Konosuba lies in the fact that within the first 5 minutes, you already know what you are in for. It begins like your typical isekai. In classic fashion, we have our shut-in Nick, Kazuma, who decides to leave his house for once to buy some not so family friendly games. However, on the way home, he sees a girl who is about to become the next victim of Truck-kun. Heroically, he pushes her out of the way, sacrificing his own life. Suddenly, he appears in front of a god who, after he asks, kindly explains that the girl didn't die. Kazuma has a moment of peace, knowing that his sacrifice was worth it. However, he didn't die from the truck either.
How'd I die? I mean, did I like get run over by it or something?
Oh no, you died of shock. Apparently you thought it was a truck.
You're kidding!
This is where the anime starts to show its true colors, as the characters begin to act the way we know them now. The god initially seems like quite a menacing and serious character, but every second she becomes more and more annoying for Kazuma. She first makes fun of him for dying in such a stupid way, then taunts him by explaining how even his family laughed at his death, and finally completely disrespects his previous life while eating a bag of chips. In response, Kazuma out of spite chooses her as the item he wants to take into the other world. The first part from a writing standpoint is perfect, because it allows us to understand how the characters would act in different scenarios. Additionally, we get a quick glance at what they are truly like, and how their relationship will develop moving forward. This already provides depth to both characters, allowing us to quickly understand how they will react in various situations, avoiding the presentation of shallow, one-dimensional characters. We quickly understand that Kazuma can be quite a huge asshole, but what I love is that we also get to see a completely different side of him quite early on, showing that he has a heart. The show portrays Aqua's character in a similar manner, depicting her as arrogant, impulsive, and quite selfish. However, it also reveals just how emotional she can be. My favorite part begins as they enter this fantasy world. At this point, the anime could have taken various directions in terms of the world they wanted to create, influencing the development of the characters and taking it into a much more serious direction. But what I love is that it just makes everything stupidly stereotypical. We have magic, guilds, monsters, everything you would expect. It presents a simple world but never actually puts a huge focus on it. Instead, everything revolves around the characters and what makes it so unique. Their dynamic. What makes this anime so enjoyable overall are its 4 main characters. Their dynamic and unique personalities create an interesting comedic mesh that works perfectly. They're written to be as stupid and annoying as possible, yet people absolutely love them, making them some of the most popular characters of all time. We obviously have Kazuma, who surprisingly is the most enjoyable isekai main character for me. He isn't like your standard protagonist. As we already saw in the first episode, his character has a lot of depth. He doesn't really change throughout the anime, but that's because he doesn't need to. Kazuma is portrayed as a genuine asshole. The show purposely presents him as a self-serving character, embodying the sentiment, "If you piss me off, I will ruin your life." Also just so happy that they didn't make him overpowered. He is weak as fuck, constantly dying until he gets resurrected by Aqua. He's a strangely relatable character. The way he handles the stupidity of the others is just how vivid. It generally provides a sense of relief when he expresses what we are thinking. Speaking of other characters, the first party member Kazuma forcibly recruits into his party is the goddess Aqua. She's the polar opposite of Kazuma, a character who is really stupid and quite inept, often causing more trouble than she solves. She frequently makes careless mistakes and lacks the wisdom and foresight one might expect from a god, rendering her unfathomably incompetent. These combined with her condescending attitude, often boasting about her divine status, make her especially annoying. However, I love that just like Kazuma, she possesses a kind heart and truly cares about protecting the others, even if it's sometimes a bit questionable. The next member adopted into the party is Megumin, a wizard who specializes in explosion magic. And when I say she specializes in it, it's more like she's obsessed with it and completely refuses to learn any other spell. She's the embodiment of a Chunin, acting as dramatically as possible, portraying herself as this powerful and mysterious mage, yet her dedication can be truly admirable, considering how committed she is to mastering explosion magic. Honestly, my favorite moments probably come from her and Kazuma just blowing things up for the sake of practice. There's just something really cute about two characters enjoying something so random. The final member of this unique party is Darkness, who, despite being a noble, joins Kazuma as a crusader to fulfill her masochistic fantasies, hoping to experience as much humiliation and pain as possible, which only serves to make her more horny. She remains quite one-dimensional for a significant portion of the series compared to the other characters, but what I appreciate is that the anime eventually adds more depth to her character. It reveals that she's from a prestigious family, which causes her quite a lot of internal conflict, considering that she doesn't really act like a noble. These four create one of the most stupid yet enjoyable groups in anime. Their incredibly flawed and eccentric personalities, combined with their unique traits, make watching them a joy. What I always found really interesting is that despite the anime featuring quite a lot of characters who act more normal, like Viz, Union or Aris, they're just not very popular at all. They are completely overshadowed by the weirdos. But that's exactly why people love it so much. Now obviously, good characters aren't enough to make a good show. Why people love it so much is simply because it's funny as fuck. I think the humor in Konosuba is something really unique, which is what makes it work so well. On paper, it shouldn't be as funny as it is after 20 episodes and the movie, but what it does so well is that there are just a lot of different varieties of jokes. It doesn't really have one type of humor. Sometimes the humor comes from how unlucky Kazuma is, or how horny Darkness is, but sometimes it's simply based around them having exaggerated facial expressions. Or other times an episode just starts with a literal random sitcom that seems so out of place, yet it perfectly fits the characters. It's just something you'd expect from them. When I think of Konosuba, most of the jokes I remember are the ones based on certain character tropes, like Megumin's explosion magic. However, after rewatching it, I realized there are just so many different varieties of humor, which is why you never get bored of it even if you binge watch it. One thing though that makes it even more unique is its production. I believe what really elevates this anime is its production quality. While it may not stand out in every aspect, I truly appreciate the attention given to certain elements. For example, the voice acting is exceptionally good in both the Japanese and English versions. Jokes just wouldn't land the same way otherwise. That combined with a huge yet recognizable OST selection really makes a difference. I don't know why, but it just has so much more OSTs than any other anime. Back in 2016, many viewers criticized the animation quality of the anime, but I never quite understood why. Maybe I'm just blind, but I always considered it one of the best looking isekai series, even if it doesn't look perfect. They put most of the effort into what matters. The faces. I love them. Also, not necessarily related to the anime, but I really love the character designs. They are just so unique and easily recognizable, representing a certain trope of a character, with Aqua's elaborate goddess attire, or sometimes the exact opposite, with Darkness's poor white gold crusader outfit. The variety of the designs gives a sense of consistency and cohesion that ties them together. Each character designs complement the others, creating a visually cohesive cast that feels like they belong in the same world. Overall, Konosuba is one of my favorite isekai that I ever watched. It's just really enjoyable to watch and I can't wait for season 3. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, you should watch this one about another isekai parody that I really loved. Like and subscribe. Goodbye.